This is Practical Prince. Today we're doing Talking Tarot, but before we get into that, just a reminder, I'm still trying to figure out what to do about streaming. In the future, I'm going to be limited on how many platforms I can hit at the same time. So if you've got feedback on that, please send it my way. We'll go ahead and flip over to our Talking Tarot, and let's go ahead and show the workspace. We'll shuffle some cards while we wait for people. If you have a question, go ahead and comment, chat, whatever it is, and we'll just do them as they come in. This is Prisma Visions by James R. Eads. Here we've got Cosmovisions. By the same author. This is Destiny Deck by Lisa Santine. Hey, Anonymous. How's it going? Pretty good. Not too bad a day at work. I was a little productive on top of that, so going well so far. There we go. All right, now all the decks are shuffled. Yes, so I'm in the United States, and it's evening over here. So, or I guess, well, this starts at 7, so early evening, I guess. Depends on what you think of day versus night. I take it you're elsewhere in the world. Well, hopefully this works well for that. Wish I had some music for you. But, yeah. Hey, Jody. Yeah, we can do that. Anonymous, if you do come up with a question for reading or just want a general reading or something, let me know. We can also keep chatting. That's fine too. But let's go ahead and help Jody. Interesting. Hey, Serenity. Just go ahead and ask your question. I'm doing Jody's right now, but we can follow up with yours. Okay. Thanks. Okay, let's see. And that's okay. That's pretty light, so let's confirm the others there. Up, down, good. Okay, so these cards are speaking to different things. I'm just going to see if I can get a better sense of what in particular. Okay, this feels like sneak peek, so this is going to, well, be something in the future. And this one, I get the sense that it's a principle at play. I don't know if this is one you need to lean on or one you need to develop. You'll be able to judge for yourself where we're at with that. So we've got the Empress, and then over here, Eight of Swords. Okay. The Empress really leans into the female archetype. I mean, the notes here are abundance and creativity. In other decks, you'll see this associated with like Mother Earth sort of energy. So creative, a tad chaotic, but it's needed for that sort of endeavor. And then, well, the generous nature of giving. So I don't know if you need to develop that more or lean on it more. It might be that, well, you're going through hard times. You might be trying to withdraw and detach, and that wouldn't seem the correct answer in this case. This wants you to be involved, and, well, giving requires someone to be given to. So, very much it requires you to connect. Now, I guess just on a practical note, you don't have to go overboard. If that's challenging for whatever reason, if this isn't one of your strong suits, strong traits, it's fine to develop it step by step. That's always okay. But that is the direction we want to go. Just if you need that help to make it manageable. Eight of Swords, and again, this was sneak peek, so something coming, suggests a self-imposed limitation. Here, the notes are restriction, entrapped. Really, mental entrapment is the best way to describe this. Some sort of rule you've put on yourself. In the worst case, this would be something like an addiction, where over time you've bound yourself to this approach, this solution, this thinking. That's the worst case, and I'll see if I can get a sense of how bad it is. But this can be as simple as just living in your box and not thinking outside of it. When one piece falls apart, your whole world doesn't have to crumble down. But if you're really restricting yourself, like this might suggest, that could be more of a disaster than it really needs to be. So, small to large. In all cases, it'll be difficult, but let's get a sense of the level of difficulty. It doesn't feel like addiction. It really feels like a shift in perspective is all that's needed to address this. So, changing your point of view. Given what you need to develop with the Empress and work on, or continue with keeping up there, I don't see that being too terrible. Because I mean, when you hit a ball, when you hit a wall, you'll just look for ways around it. So I don't think this will be all that bad. Okay. Well, yeah, and it is definitely hard, but you know the direction you want to go. And that's good. I mean, that can just be a small step of what you're wanting in life, part of the abundance that you're developing with the Empress. You're wanting good people around you, with you, supporting you. You can go get them, in a sense. It's not like you'll coerce them into doing it or anything like that. And not every seed sprouts, but that's definitely within your control to improve. And again, I would recommend step by step, little by little. Yeah. But I guess continuing the seed analogy, I wouldn't just plant on one seed. if that's really the case with the people around you, um, it might be easier to just move yourself to better ground. Because I mean, there's two ways. You can either reach out to different groups of people, different circles that you don't normally run in, or well, stuff along those lines. But if the vast majority of people that are in your immediate circles just, as you say, don't care, um, then you might want to make a move to shake it up and get a better lot, hopefully. I mean, there is something to be said for working the ground, um, continuing with the farmer analogy, but I'm afraid we just didn't get anything like that in the reading. I mean, as to summarize what you're describing, you're hoping for a future turning point. That's good, or a future event to bring things up again. And we just didn't get anything like that in the reading. Not to say that it won't happen, it just wasn't the most significant things to tell you. And it's possible that you've got sunshine due in 2 months or something like that. And continuing that thought, it might be possible that you need to be able to continue in the dark times and develop yourself to shine in that. And then, well, along comes the support. Otherwise, looking forward to the future can really dampen your take on the present and how much effort you can really put into it. And I guess that can choke out the future sometimes, but life is pretty resilient. So, no problem. And feel free to hang around and chat. I'll keep doing readings, but there's still people on. And we can continue talking later too, if we want to go over things. Serenity. There it is. Reading about family conflict. Hey, Jocelyn. How's it going? Let me go ahead and show that. Yeah, that's totally fine, Jocelyn. Go ahead and ask your question so I can track it. I think this one's going to Cosmo. Okay. And you didn't give a whole lot of detail on the situation, so you'll probably have to help connect the dots when I get the cards, but we can see what we get, and that's fine. Okay. just need these. Okay. Let's modify that over there. So then, let's see. Okay. Sorry, just getting a sense for what the cards are. These seem to be how to describe that. I don't want to say spirits because um, that's the wrong way to think about it. These are principles. That doesn't sound quite right either. This one sort of represents you and your um, attitude toward what's going on. This is similar for others, and this could be multiple people. That's really the thing. Whereas this is you and maybe some others, but you're the one we're concerned about here. Um, these speak to other groups or factions. Sort of like um, it could touch on motivations. Really, attitudes is probably the best way to describe it. Um, this feels like an action um, for you. And that, well, it might just be, well, let it go and let's see what happens. But, anyways, suggested course of action, basically. So, 8 of lotuses, the protector, 6 of birds, and then over here, 2 of embers. I'll have to double check the protector. 8 of lotuses would normally be 8 of cups or chalices. 6 of birds would normally be 6 of swords. 2 of embers, 2 of wands. The Cosmo deck does like to mix things up a little bit now and then, so I'll double check some of this. But let's figure out what the protector is real quick. King of Wands is what the protector usually is. So, and the notes here are perceptive, protective, flowing creativity. But really the thing standing out there is a defensive energy. 8 of lotuses. There's a sense of lost is probably the best way to describe that. Just really, as far as their interactions, they might be clueless, detached. Yeah. You've got the defensive group, and then 6 of birds. Let me double check that one. Sixes are usually a little more concerning, but Cosmo also does special stuff. Yeah, so the notes here are out of control, leaving behind, moving on. And let's see, does something in particular stand out? Out of control is the bigger one. I think this is naturally leading you towards moving on, but basically it's all chaos from your perspective. So those are our three attitudes at play. Again, multiple people could share an attitude. Um, Two of them, let me go ahead and read that, since that's the call to action, and that's our bigger one. I don't think this is quite as strong as move on, but the notes here are planning, making decisions, leaving home. So, okay. And that's not a bad thing. Um, when it says leaving home, that's not necessarily. Don't want you to jump to the conclusion of just leaving this mess of a family behind or anything like that. It just it more so signifies a maturity um, and a certain amount of independence is really what we're getting from that leaving home. Uh, but as far as the important stuff for you, so independence is an important part. Um, the action would be planning, um, but planning with the goal or focus of being independent. So no matter how it pans out, um, you're still standing, basically, just because it doesn't matter how the cookie crumbles or anything like that. If you get some, great. If not, that's fine too. I don't know the details. That's just the extremes I know of. Um, and just realizing that, um, well, that you need to be able to stand on your own. That family is great. Um, really, it would just be codependence. We would not be that would get an X nay, a strong no. You're able to put the foot down when people are out of place, out of line, at least with regards to yourself, um, and that you're not leaning too heavily on any of them either. And to take it a step further, that doesn't mean no interaction, uh, but that means any interaction is voluntary and good for both, for you and whoever else you're interacting with. So it's a choice, not a requirement of yours. But yeah, you'll probably get it better from the other stuff. Okay. Any questions? I'm glad I'm connecting correctly. So I guess what's your real question if we didn't cover that? Hey, Shauna. How's it going? Um, I guess Serenity, do you want a reading on why they don't understand? Or why maybe they do, but they're choosing not to? Okay. Yeah, we'll continue with the Cosmic deck. What do you mean by sticky? And Shauna, if you have a question, feel free to go ahead and ask. We'll just get to it as we can. Okay. Awesome. Okay. It sounds like you're doing the right. Your view on this seems good as far as how you should be handling that situation. So I don't know if we're going to get anything. I guess this would just be an informative reading to understand them better. Don't know that we'll really be able to get them to understand you better, but it might help with communicating with them, understanding their angle, so to speak. Hey, Bree. Go ahead and ask your question. Doing well. I'll double check if that's the right spot. Okay. Well, so these are the central reasons, and then we've got some clarification, some nuance to it. Um, so a lot of people have this one, and then there's two versions of that, um, pretty related though. And then there's this version as well of this as the main thing. So as far as the main reasons, uh, we've got the Peacemaker and Eight of Birds. I want to say this is a king of some sort. I can't remember if it's normally cups. I want to say it's cups, but Eight of Birds would normally be Eight of Swords, and this came up in an earlier reading. This deals with mental entrapment. So what it might be mental health, it might not. Um, you'll have to judge for yourself on this person or people, I guess. I don't know how big your family is. Um, But there's something to that effect, and I guess to clarify that some more, we've got the commander. And so, yeah, how to describe that one? It's willing to fight every battle, whether or not that will win at the war. So these people would be particular and picky, um, at least as far as anything with the headspace goes. Like they might not be picky about food, for example, um, but then like I don't know, OCD would be one thing. Um, being very specific about like pronouns because that's a thing these days. That could be someone like this. That sort of manifestation is really coming from the well, the mental limitation they're dealing with, and that's not to say they're mentally retarded or anything. It's just either they've had some scarring experience, or they've got some belief that's binding them down, or literally mental health um, causing an imbalance. Um, Peacemaker. This is usually a good one, um, but they might be getting too extreme with it. And let me double check just to make sure I get it right. Um, but this just might be justice too strictly enforced. The sense of fairness, basically. Diplomatic, tolerant, sympathetic. Okay. So not justice. Um, this really wants to smooth things over is probably the best way to describe it. Um, the downside to this is people are willing to sacrifice things for the supposed peace. So then moving on, we've got the Phoenix and Seven of Birds. Seven of Birds, Seven of Swords. Well, Seven of Swords is normally betrayal, deception. Um, this deck has a much more favorable interpretation. It suggests that with some foresight and some planning, obstacles can be overcome. So that's one thing going on. I'm on Serenities, Serenity of Soul. And then the Phoenix. Let me double check what the Phoenix is. I'm pretty sure it's not Emperor. It's the one right after that. But that's not coming to mind. The Hierophant. Okay. Um, interesting. So normally this deals with tradition, custom. There's a certain sense of rigidity to it. In fact, let me double check because this deck has, like I said, special spin-offs sometimes. Yeah, so it leans against that. This would probably be more similar to High Priestess. leaning on inner wisdom in a sense. Um, the notes were new awakening, spirituality, oneness, um, which is far more flexible than the traditional Hierophant. The thing I'm getting from it is that it's a bit self-absorbed. So that's probably why these people are struggling to reach out. Seven of Birds, I mean, there is the foresight going on, which has its perks. Um, I guess I just don't know how well they're actually planning. So, hmm. And they're leaning on their own plan as opposed to a group. Okay. So yeah, a bit self-absorbed. They've got their issue. Probably the best way to describe these people as thinking they've got it figured out. And they would rather trust that plan, that intuition, rather than talk things over, hash things out. Because I'm in their mind, it's moot. They know what they need to do. Whether or not that's right or wrong, we'll really see. But, okay. Oh, and I don't know that you can really see that Phoenix. There we go. Okay. I'm guessing you're getting lies more from this set as opposed to that set of people. I mean, this set of people you could maybe persuade against it if you can really show that the lie is in conflict. Um, the Phoenix people, I mean, this is the sort of person where their truth is more important than what others would say. So I don't know that there's really anything you can do about that. Okay. Yeah. I hope that most of them aren't in that group. Oh, that's rough. Because, yeah, I mean, these groups, there's a certain logical element that you can work on with them. Um, they can still be plenty difficult, um, but that's at least something of a common ground. This one, though, um, yeah, that I just would not expect anything. If you want to try persuading and whatnot, go ahead. But I would consider that a spent investment of your energy. So, yeah. Okay, glad I could help. And I need to catch up on where we're at. We spent some time on Serenity, didn't we? And that's okay. We had Shauna, we had Bree, and Bree, go ahead and ask your question if you have one. we're just doing them as we get them. I want to say we had someone before Shauna. Okay, yeah. So just to catch people up, we'll do Jocelyn right now. She's on screen. After that, Shauna, and then if we get Bree's question, Bree would be next. So, I can't remember if I shuffled, so let me just do that again real quick. And then let's find the deck. Okay. So there's two parts to this one. There's the where are we at and what's coming up. Let's see if we can get it all in one go. And let me orient this towards you just because the orientation matters a little more on this one. Yeah, that should be more like this. Like this. Yeah. Okay. This one is where you're at. It's tilted, it's skewed. So we'll read it, but then we need to figure out what the offset is from the normal translation. These are things upcoming, but they're pretty light, honestly. Frankly, this is really the only relevant thing, but hints at things coming up. This one has a little more weight, but neither of these is pretty heavy. So I don't expect these to hit with much of a splash. So we've got the Chariot, again skewed, and then over here, Four of Pentacles and Two of Wands. Four of Pentacles deals with, well, greed, would be the normal thing there. Slightly materialistic. Greedy is really the best way to describe it. Hoarding, not really. Not really. Um, there's a bit of a selfish and a possessiveness there. Um, as far as what that is for you, gosh, it's just so light. Yeah, I can't even tell if it's like a principle or a physical thing. Um, it just doesn't have that much weight to it. Given you're a good person, I'm imagining it won't take too much longer to get through that, but that's one thing coming up. Two of Wands deals with choosing to make forward progress. Um, there is with this one a sense of having to choose what helps versus what hinders, um, leaving behind the bad and pressing forward with the good. So, but you're already doing that, so that's really nothing new. So let's go ahead and read the Chariot, and then let's figure out the skill. Oh, and this is, let's do. Chariot usually has fast energy, forward movement, and a sense of victory in some cases. So the notes here on this guide are willpower, self-assured, confidence moving forward. And I'll go ahead and read this one out loud because we need to figure out the offset. Being completely self-assured is a rare and glorious moment. If through careful preparation, self-discipline, and steady determination you find yourself a victor, you have every right to be proud of your accomplishments. Direct this energy into further efforts. Have total confidence in your abilities. You've clearly demonstrated to yourself and to the world what you can achieve. Forge on, refusing to let any obstacle stand in your way. And then, okay. So a lot of this is accurate. I mean, I think you're already in the self-assured, um, doing great. You find yourself a victor. I think you're already in that state. We just need to clarify, um, the have total confidence in your abilities. This forge on, refusing to let any obstacle stand in your way. That's incorrect. Um, that's it's just not going to work as well for you. You can't just bulldoze or over whatever your obstacle is, like this might be suggesting. You still need tact. You still need strategy, but you've developed some of this already, so you can reuse and reapply it to help keep yourself going forward. Um, that's really the only thing we needed to clarify there. Um, so yeah, but even this direct this energy into further efforts, have total confidence in your abilities. That's all good. In fact, lean on that more so than the bulldoze sort of interpretation. Yeah. And that's okay. Okay. Well, and you've definitely got enough skills in your toolkit to keep yourself going. So, congratulations on reaching this point. You'll be able to sustain it without running into too many issues. So, excellent. Um, let me go find Shauna's question. Let's see, that's it. There we go. Well, thanks. It's fun doing readings for you. Glad I could help. All right. What is coming? Okay. And if you can get a sense of when, we'll include that. That does tend to be the trickiest aspect to nail down. Thank you. Take care. Okay, interesting. Let me make sure you got it all. Okay, we're looking at roughly a month. 3 to 4 weeks on the early side. 6 weeks would definitely be stretching it. So we're really getting really close to the month mark. This has more oomph to it, so it might hit harder. But as far as importance, these seem to be about the same. I guess magnitude would be about the same. So we've got the Page of Cups, and we've got Temperance. Okay. Page of Cups speaks to partly new beginnings. Generally, the focus with this one is opening up your heart. So putting yourself out there a bit more, at least as far as that goes. Let me make sure. It feels like a relationship. There are better cards for that, but that's really the sense I'm getting from this one. Yeah. And that seems to be good, so let's get a better sense of Temperance. Because this one, I mean, it's pretty straightforward, aka moderation, being able to compromise. I'm not really getting this nailed down to any one area of your life. I think it's hitting a few. And I mean, you could mark this probably with you deciding that, well, a compromise is okay in whatever these areas are, and actually acting on that. You might think about it before, you might even be thinking about it now. But it's at this point that you press the button, you sign the paperwork, whatever it is. It could even relate to that relationship. So, yeah. And just to clarify, just because compromise sometimes gets a bad rap, um, this doesn't have any negative connotations, or at least I'm not getting a sense of that from here. Um, there could be negative outcomes just from how things play out, um, but it seems like this is good faith compromising, and pressing forward. So that's what we have. Hopefully Shonda comes back and catches that. I think she might have had to duck out. But yeah, that catches us up. So if you have questions, go ahead and chat or comment. I guess I should say I only see Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. So that puts a little damper on how interactive this is, but some people enjoy the show. So we'll hang out for a little longer. About a pretty good session, so we won't give it too long. That is a good stopping point. If you've got feedback, I've had the ticker running for a while, but I guess like I mentioned, I do stream to multiple platforms at once using this software, Restream, but they're going to start limiting that, and well, it gets to a slightly annoying limit because I can only do 2 of the 3 I can chat with. So just want your guys' feedback on that if you have any. Otherwise, I'll figure something out. But yeah, just hoping to get feedback and make sure I've got all the alpha through and figured out. So I shall switch our caption because you can ask questions. I know we've been doing so much reading, people might have missed that, but we will do that if you're interested. And I shall twiddle my thumbs for a little while. Because yeah, monologuing isn't my strong suit. I could, but it is not the best. And I don't feel a need to do it. So yeah, that is where that's at. Okay. I think we've given it enough time. I know that's probably not as much as I said, but it is a good stopping place. So thanks for tuning in. Always fun doing readings for you guys. Hope you're doing great. Have a wonderful week, and until next time, take care.